What is up, students of the dojo? UFC 316 is here, and it's a darn good card. All right, we had a lot of different pullouts, a lot of withdrawals, a lot of switch outs, a lot of injuries. As you can see here, we've had a few different things change out. The great bisexual representation of the UFC, Shamil Gaziev, pulled out. Great tragedy. We had Marlon Vera pull out, Johnny Walker pull out. All that being said, this is still a great card. This main card still turned out to be very much so worth it. And the top prelim, I didn't even realize Bruno Silva, Joshua Van. I would have been excited for that to be on the main card, even if it wasn't. But still, it's a feature prelim, so I'll take that. Great card we got here. All right, but let's start from the beginning, shall we? Markel Mederos versus I wasn't even going to try and figure out how to say this. Choinsky? I don't know, but he's American, so that's pretty messed up. I can't even say it. So we pretty much got a grappler versus striker bout going on here. I agree with these odds for a few reasons. Mark Choinsky, most of the time, he's fighting in a much smaller cage. Definitely going to play more into his game. He can take down people in the open mat. He doesn't necessarily need a cage. In his last fight, he beat an 8-7 opponent, which is something. Was it 8-7 or 7-8? It was 8-7. All right, and before that was 7-3, not bad. But you look back before that, it's not incredibly impressive. The records of guys he's going against. I'm not really. The experience is not like lending to him in this matchup. And for me, I think Markel Mederos is going to have the takedown defense for this. He hasn't had his takedowns tested that much, but enough for me to kind of err on the side of he's going to be able to stay at distance. He's usually a distance striker. And also the experience he's had up to this point, I think, is just opposite to Mark. Whereas the guys that he's facing, split between Austin Hubbard had me a little worried about this. But I think Austin Hubbard's a very crafty veteran with a lot of experience. Before that, you got 7-2, 10-2, 8-8, 8-5, 5-1. When he was 3-1, he was beating 5-0 guys. Like, I just think he was put through the ringer more early in his career than Mark is. And I think Mark has a lot of flaws. Even against that 8-7 guy, he was getting set up for a triangle at one point, and he was complaining to the ref about the guy grabbing his glove, and the guy was definitely not grabbing his glove. Those little things make me think that there's a chance you won't keep as much composure. And he can be backed up. I've seen him get backed up. And he likes to duck under and throw like overhands. He's a little bit of the shorter fighter at lightweight. I think Markel Mederos is going to take care of him, either with a knee or just with good straight shots. So I'm going with Markel Mederos there. Next, we got Quinlan Salkilld versus Yanal Ashmouz. This one should be absolute fireworks, all right? Both these guys are decently well-rounded. I picked Yanal. It's crazy that these odds were very similar to Yanal's Ashmouz's last fight that he was scheduled for against Aliyev, which I thought he was going to pretty easily handle Aliyev, who is a great grappler. Only really a grappler, though. Aliyev did not have really much striking at all. But his grappling is so much that it's gotten him really far. And I thought Yanal Ashmouz, he keeps his hands really low. He's got hard bombs for hands. And he's got his own takedowns that he's got. And I think he was going to be able to handle Aliyev really well. And I was happy with that pick before it got canceled. This is way different, though. Quinlan Salkilld is no joke. This man is well-rounded as it comes. High volume, high pressure, and he's got power. He's got length, 75 inches at lightweight, and he's 6 foot tall. It's giving me mad Dan Hooker vibes, but honestly, maybe even a little bit better. I really like Quinlan Salkilld. The footwork, constant movement, and he had a tough Contender Series fight he had to win. He worked for his Contender Series win. I think that's gonna. I don't like that Yanal Ashmouz goes in with that lower hand style. I guess, especially against a guy like Quinlan Salkilld. Excuse me. The best chance for Yanal here is to get Quinlan back up and like really work the cage, break off, throw shots, get back on the cage, make sure Quinlan can't throw knees from those positions. That's how I would approach it if I was Yanal, but in every other case, I think Quinlan really wins this fight in all the other areas. So I'm definitely going to go with Quinlan there. Don't think these odds are very warranted. I think it should look more like this one. I'd say Yanal Ashmouz is a better lightweight than Mark Choinsky. which is crazy. These odds on this card are pretty wild throughout, I will say. So yeah, Quill and Salkilld. Next, we got Ju Sung-yu versus Jeka Saragih. Another matchup where I'm like, why are the odds so wide? This guy, I'm pretty sure, is making not his UFC debut. Yeah, his UFC debut. Like, and we're giving him a -500? He's widely untested. And he's going against a knockout artist. Why are we putting him at a -500? I don't understand. But yeah, we got Ju Sung-yu, Jeka Saragih. Ju Sung-yu, very well-rounded. Once he gets into any position against his opponent, he's very offensive. As soon as a clinch happens, he's automatically going for the takedown. As he's always feinting offensively, getting someone to back up, which I think is going to be a great style against a Jeka Saragih, who is going to be a featherweight. He's gone from lightweight down to featherweight throughout his little UFC stint so far, which is impressive. He got knocked out by Anshul Jabli, who's Anshul Jabli is a lightweight. So, and he's also a knockout artist of sorts. So I weigh on that a bit, but I also do weigh on it because Anshul Jabli is more of a straight shot kind of guy, not less looping punches. I think Ju Sung-yu is very similar in that way, but honestly way more dynamic than Anshul Jabli. I think he's got too many tools for Jeka Saragih. I agree with where the odds are putting this fight. I don't agree with just how wide it is because Jeka Saragih has knockout power, and he's done it pretty well, I'd say, in his career. So, but I'm still gonna go Ju Sung-yu. I think the pressure in the feints and in the wide range of game that he's gonna bring, it's gonna not give Jeka enough opportunities to land that knockout blow. So, going with Ju Sung-yu. Next, we got Ariane Lipski de Silva, who, in my opinion, best face card in the game. Best face card in the game, easily. Sorry about that. Had a phone call. Might have a grappling partner that I might be helping train for a fight. So that's cool. Back to it though. Face card Ariane Lipski versus Cong Wang. I am going to go with Cong Wang. Although, again, the wideness in line. I kind of get it. Why it's wide, but not this wide. Why are we saying a 5-1 favorite? I don't get it. Cong Wang has already been kind of exposed, quote unquote, in the UFC. So there is like the path to beat her is known-ish. So it's a little weird. But I think although Bruno Brazil is not like the big, cool fighting nerds prospect that we hoped she'd be, Cong Wang did beat her. It was her moving up from strawweight, so it's a little bit more iffy, but Bruno Brazil more so I feel has a flyweight build. But Bruno Brazil fights, I think, similarly to Lipski. Lipski definitely, I think, more into the Muay Thai realm, more into the clinch game. But that's Cong Wang's world, right? So if that's your specialty in the terms of MMA, and that's what you're going to try and meet Cong Wang with, then I'm going with Cong Wang. I mean, that's just an easy pick for me. So that's where I'm going. I don't think the grappling is going to be enough on the Silva side to take down Cong Wang. I think it's a pretty easy pick here. Khaos Williams versus Andreas Gustafsson. This one I think is a bit harder. I'm actually a little surprised they got Khaos Williams as a -205. Some things that I can always rely on with Khaos Williams. He's got a decent chin. He is always going to be moving forward. He's going to swing big to knock you out. The things I'm not always sure with Khaos Williams is his striking defense. Going into the Gabriel Bonfim fight, I thought he had really shored up a lot of that. It did not seem like he had actually done that. A lot of the time I saw his head was definitely open to be hit in that fight. It showed. I just feel I can't rely on him as much as I had originally thought going into the Gabriel Bonfim fight. That being said, with Andreas Gustafsson, I think coming off his Contender Series win, all right, 1-1 in KSW. Leading up to that has a lot of canceled fights. He had to withdraw. It doesn't say it was an injury, but then he had both of his opponents back out the week before this one. And the Contender Series one was good. Oh, man. I just don't know. I think this is a fight for Khaos Williams to win. This isn't someone like with Gabriel Bonfim. The front headlock game is a perfect kind of transition from being at distance with Khaos to like closing that distance with him and then shutting down his game. Gabriel Bonfim just had that game plan going in. Andreas Gustafsson, I don't think that's him. I think Khaos Williams is going to be keeping him away at distance. I honestly think so. With this 3-inch reach advantage he's got and the bigger cage, I got to go with Khaos Williams here. I'm not as keen to bet on this one if I was a betting man. I think this one's a little bit more risky. I think you got such wide odds throughout this whole card. You could get some pretty good upsets if you wanted to, or string together some pretty safe parlays, in my opinion. But I wouldn't necessarily bet on this one. I'd bet on a finish. I'd bet on a finish if you can, just for either fighter. If just a KO happening, I think you could pretty reliably go with that. Same with this next one coming up: Serghei Spivac, Waldo Cortes-Acosta. This is tough because Waldo Cortes-Acosta has beat every bad heavyweight there is. Not everyone, but not counting Andrei Arlovski. That's more just like over the hill. I don't think Andrei Arlovski is bad, especially coming from the era he came from. I would never call Andrei Arlovski bad, but like you're talking Jared Vandera, you're talking Chase Sherman. He lost to Marcos Rogelio de Lima, who was a ranked heavyweight. I don't know if he still is. Beat Lucas Bursky, Andrei Arlovski, Robelas Despain, who is, we have seen now, should not have anything to do with MMA. Just keep doing karate combat. It is obviously doing you well. Keep doing that. And then beat Ryan Spann on his first fight up at heavyweight. So we got a weird pool of data to look into for Waldo. Serghei, on the other hand, has been through the ringer of opponents. My man has faced like all the best heavyweights. He faced Tom Aspinall. He faced Cyril Gane. He beat Marcin Tybura. He lost to Jonathan Almeida. He beat Derek Lewis. Not really a great heavyweight, but he beat Greg Hardy. That's always feel good. And he's been here way longer, you know. Beat Tai Tuivasa, okay, back in 2019. Okay, that wasn't when the Tuivasa's washed narrative was happening. Okay, that was before that. This one's tough though, because Waldo Cortes-Acosta really is he can be an anti-grappler or he can be the grappler, depending if he's fighting Robelas Despain types or not. It's the striking is what I'm worried about in this matchup. I think Waldo could hurt Spivac. And Spivac, once he's hurt bad, I don't like how he reacts to when he's hurt sometimes. The recoverability for Serghei Spivac isn't as good as I would like it to be. Because he either steamrolls, I feel, or he gets hurt. This is a tough one. This is probably the toughest one to predict on the card, in my opinion. I'm going to go... I didn't even look at the odds when I popped them up. I'm gonna go with Serghei Spivac. I picked him last fight against Jailton Almeida. Turns out Jailton Almeida was the better, because they have similar styles. Actually, no, I'm going Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I forgot that one of the big things I was thinking about was the weight difference. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that he's giving up all this weight. I really don't. Especially since they're the same kind of frame. I just don't. I really wish Serghei would build up a bit more muscle, because I don't see the speed. He has the he's dynamic with this a little bit less weight, because you see the arm bars he gets against Marcin Tybura, so he's a little more dynamic in his movement, a little bit more. But it's not like he's getting some big extra speed boost from this, like a Tom Aspinall, who's 250 something, right? I think Tom Aspinall's either 248 or 250, right? What's Tom Aspinall weighing in his last weigh-in? 251, and he's faster than Serghei. So I'm going Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I think is just a little bit too bad of a matchup, a little bit too much on his side. But this is a close one. It could go either way, in my opinion. These are good odds. This is actual good odds. Okay. Azamat Murzakanov versus Brinson Ribeiro. Okay. I am going to go Azamat Murzakanov, obviously. Brinson Ribeiro, he's a really lanky light heavyweight, but he can be tossed around. It's an unfortunate like big ass step up. I mean, not bad for Brinson. I mean, if he gets the win, he's ranked. I think, right? I mean, this gives you a ranking, right? I mean, I feel like in the nature of how you beat ranked fighters, especially if he's number 12 according to this. I don't know if that's what the UFC represents it as, but that's pretty big. So good for him for getting the matchup off of Johnny Walker dropping out. But I think it says something that they were matching him up with Johnny Walker before this. But it's hard for me to really break this down because I don't think Brinson Ribeiro really he's a little bit he definitely overshoots his straight shots. He's like over his front leg after he shoots. It's just too many mistakes that Azamat can take care of at this level of light heavyweight. So yeah, Azamat Murzakanov. This is a good parlay pick to put in here. This is I would go with more like a negative 350 rather than negative 550. That's kind of crazy, but because Brinson Ribeiro, he does knockout power. He does. All right, next, one of my most anticipated fights on the card. This is a fight in the night potential right here. Bruno Silva versus Joshua Van. Prospect no more. Joshua Van no longer a prospect. You are that dude now. All right, you are ranked, and you are holding your position now. That's different. You're not a prospect anymore at that point. If you're defending a ranking, like going through your career, you're no longer a prospect, homie. You in the big show now. Again, why the fuck is I'm gonna pick Joshua Van to win. Why is he a negative 550 favorite? Bruno Silva is very skilled, incredibly skilled. The age difference is insane. 12 years is nuts, in my opinion, which is part of a reason, especially in the flyweight, being at this age. That's not gonna be helpful, for sure. Minus 550 is atrocious, though. Joshua Van, I feel like Bruno Silva maybe has the wider range of skills, but in terms of the skills that both possess, Joshua Van's boxing is way better than Bruno Silva's. Joshua Van's wrestling has come a long way, strides, while he's been in the UFC. It's been improving massively. The submission game obviously is on Bruno Silva's side, but that depends on if Bruno Silva even gets Joshua Van down. But Joshua Van, we know, is going to be pushing forward. We know he's going to be stepping to Bruno Silva, and we know that's how Bruno Silva also fights. So it's fireworks like made to happen. And I don't think this goes to the ground as long as it needs to for Bruno Silva to win. Both have a puncher's chance of getting a knockout, but in terms of who is more efficient, who has a better chin, these are very similar guys in a few ways, but different in a lot of key ways as well. Yeah, I'm going Joshua Van. I got to. My man's on that come up. He's making that run right now, and I gotta get behind that. Gotta get behind that. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. Another tough matchup of guys who got a few similar weapons. Both men like the front headlock. Both men like the darce. Both can start in the bottom position in grappling and end up in more favorable positions. I'm very impressed with both of these guys as BJJ. Both have knockout power. Vicente Luque, it's questionable whether homie is going to be able to take a shot against Kevin Holland at range in a big cage, where Kevin's going to have plenty of room to move around. It's going to take Vicente Luque, I think, taking Kevin Holland down or hurting his legs really bad. I don't know. It's hard for me to see Vicente's path because of the variance in performance. Damn, he's only 33. I could have swore Vicente was older. I could have swore he was older. I don't think Vicente Luque's got the type of grappling that is gonna beat a Kevin Holland. I think the type of grappling that beats a Kevin Holland is a Thiago Santos. It's a Marvin Vettori. It's a Rainer de Ritter. And that's just not the type of guys he's meeting at 170. unless you're a Khamzat Chimaev and you're barely making 170. You know what I'm saying? So, damn, Kevin's ranked the number 69th welterweight. Why? That's really weird. It's a really weird ranking to give Kevin, actually. Because who's out just outside of the top? Kevin Holland is absolutely better than D-Rod. What are we doing here? Why are we putting... Okay, I mean, maybe I'm just confused as to why D-Rod is so high up. Because for Kretinov, I don't know, is for Kretinov better than Kevin Holland? Maybe. But, like, Kevin Holland's definitely better than Neil Magny. He's definitely better than Gunnar Nelson, who he just beat. Why is he at 69? He just beat Gunnar Nelson. Hold on, Tapology. Fix your shit. This is not that's not real. Don't pay attention to this. The Gunnar Nelson performance, I think, was really impressive because Gunnar Nelson is very underrated. And I think in that fight, Kevin Holland showed why even a grappling specialist isn't going to be able to beat him at 170 unless you're a Khamzat Chimaev or something of that type. So yeah, I think it's Kevin Holland. I think these are reasonable odds. These are reasonable odds. Yeah, good odds here for Kevin Holland. Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix with a slight favorite here. Very controversial. I didn't know what to expect with the odds of Mario Bautista Patchy Mix, to be honest. I can understand it though, because Patchy Mix is such a submission threat, and Mario Bautista does like to implement a lot of grappling into his game. It kind of makes me think that some people are wondering, ooh, is Mario Bautista gonna second guess that part of his game, and he's gonna therefore limit himself, and that will allow Patchy Mix's game to open up a bit more because it doesn't seem like it's being as limited because Mario Bautista isn't reaching into his bag for all of his tools. I don't know. That's tough. I don't know if that's a good narrative to go through when thinking about picking this fight. I think Mario Bautista, I think he's got the striking, you know? I think he's got the grappling defense. Man, who has beaten Mario Bautista in the UFC? Who has this been? 2 losses. At least they've Trevin Jones and Corey Sandhagen. So Corey Sandhagen armbar loss, and then a Trevin Jones lead uppercut to ground and pound. But like he beat Ricky Simone over a decision. That's really impressive in my opinion. He beat a Damon Blackshear. It's like a lot of people who would have possibly a similar game plan to Patchy Mix, who probably aren't at the same skill level as Patchy Mix, right? I think Mario Bautista. I'm a big Bellator transition hater at this point. Watching Michael Chandler, who was a bit older, coming in, watching Pitbull, who was also older, coming in. I guess Patchy Mix is probably the realest example we can use of like what it is legitimately going to be like when the cream of the crop of other MMA promotions come over at an optimal time. This is probably the best example of it. So, super close fight. I'm picking the underdog here in Bautista, so maybe not a good bet, or maybe a good bet to go for here. But I'm gonna go with the underdog here in Bautista. I think he's got it. I think this is my only underdog I've picked so far. I think so. Yep. Yeah, no, I picked Khaos, I think, for that one, didn't I? Did I pick Khaos or Andreas? Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, I think I did pick Khaos, didn't I? So I picked the favorite in that one. Damn. No, I picked the underdog for Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Okay, so I have a couple underdogs in here so far. I mean, that's cool. Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Pyfer. I want to pick Kelvin. I would love to. It's just like what tool is going to be the tool that wins him the fight, okay? At 5'9" and a 3.5 inch reach disadvantage, excuse me. I understand he had that against Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya was a striker, okay? That was a different matchup. I think Joe Pyfer, obviously more so of a striker, more of a heavy hands kind of guy. I'm sure that Jack Hermanson loss weighs on him heavy, and he never wants to get done like that again if I was him. And Kelvin, think he showed in that Sean Brady fight the grappling wasn't as hot as we all thought it was. And the whole thing is like he's gonna have to get Joe Pyfer down. I understand Kelvin Gastelum's got a good chin. Has he been knocked out? I don't know if Kelvin's never been knocked out. That's the thing. So it's the question of is this where Kelvin's chin gets checked? I think it is possibly. I think it's possibly where Kelvin's chin gets checked because how else is he gonna fight Joe Pyfer, right? He's gonna have to grapple him, in my opinion. You have to grapple Joe Pyfer. You have to grapple Joe Pyfer, and I don't think that's a winning strategy in terms of the matchup and like the physicality, size. Like I don't think this is Kelvin's fight to win. Yeah, it's Joe Pyfer for me. Maybe even the chin may get cracked. It may get cracked. I think it might. This is not a great matchup for him. Julianna Peña, Kayla Harrison. God, how long do I even want to go into this? These odds do make sense to me. I think maybe minus 500 would make more sense. I don't know about minus 625. Minus 500, in my opinion, would be a little more. That makes sense. I didn't realize Julianna Peña has a nice little reach here for bantamweight. 69 inches for bantamweight? That ain't bad. But Julianna Peña, golly. I'm not saying Kayla Harrison has some like elite striking, but Julianna Peña is so open. Like we all seen the clip of the classic Peña rush, the Peña blitz, and Amanda Nunes just checks her and knocks her down. But outside of that, I mean, Kayla Harrison's a grappler. Peña's a grappler. Harrison's a gold medal judoka. I don't think Peña's anywhere close to that. In any grappling sport. No offense. Like I'm comparing a gold medal judoka Olympian to like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like it's not like I'm shitting on Peña's skills. I'm just saying compared to a gold medal judoka who is 18-1 in MMA, like she's not all that good. Kayla Harrison's gonna win this. I think she's gonna dominantly win it. The only thing that could be a problem is obviously Kayla Harrison's got a massive weight cut. And so it makes you wonder what the 4th and 5th rounds are going to be like if they even make it there. If they make it there, I think it gets possibly a little more interesting, and Peña does have great cardio and could start pushing it a lot harder in that 4th and 5th, and we could see Kayla Harrison making mistakes, giving up her back. That's where Peña could win, but I do not think that's what happens. I think Harrison is going to dominate the grappling. I think she's going to make Peña look silly on the ground, and she's going to be way stronger. And early, when they're dry, that's going to be a problem, because the squeeze that Kayla Harrison's going to have, if she gets any kind of choke, the squeeze she is going to have early in the fight is going to be nasty. So I'm going with Kayla Harrison by a brutal submission. I think it's going to be a very, very nasty choke. But we'll see. Peña could scramble. Who knows? It could be a good fight going into the 4th and 5th. Who knows? All right, Merab Dvalishvili, Sean O'Malley. I'm gonna get heat for this. Sean O'Malley is gonna win this goddamn fight. I think he is, and that's a great bet at plus 240. These odds make sense based on what we saw in the last fight. Even though he had a torn labrum, doesn't matter because we don't know what Merab was dealing with. He hasn't revealed that. He could have not been dealing with anything. Who knows? But I understand the stats, mainly because of the matchups of styles and what went down the first fight. I can understand these odds, but that is why plus 240 is so good to bet on Sean O'Malley. He won 2 out of the 5 rounds in the first fight. He won 2 rounds. You cannot forget this. This is not something you can forget. He won 2 out of the 5 in an unideal matchup where he had a torn labrum, and there was no way that was the most optimal shape he could have went into that fight. There's just no possible way. I'm thinking Amanda Nunes Peña won, all right, where Peña got the win. That's how I feel about that first matchup. A little bit. Not as bad as Peña Nunes, because Nunes was definitely not in that fight mentally. But Sean did not look his absolute best in that fight. I don't believe so. And I'm buying the narrative. Don't get me wrong. I'm a narrative buyer, all right? I think the quitting all of the habits that he's quit, I think the taking the time to recover that injury and get the surgery, I think that's going to be amazing. It's going to help his kicks. It's going to help his grappling. It's going to help his footwork. Man, I believe in Sean O'Malley because I also see the mistakes Merab makes. I understand that the Sean O'Malley camp has acknowledged the grappling prowess and the timing of the takedowns and everything that Merab does, but that's a good thing. You want the challenger to be saying stuff like that because it shows that seriously they're taking it. Yeah, and Merab weighed 134 in the last weigh-in. That's a weird one. So it's not like I feel that Merab has some sort of crazy weight advantage. Maybe a bit of a strength advantage here. But again, that was off a torn labrum. And I want to be like the torn labrum guy and just fucking go off that. But I believe in it. I believe. Sean O'Malley, his striking, man, it's different. He doesn't have striking like anyone else in the division, and people just forget that. I understand Cheeto was probably not in his prime when he fought O'Malley, but no one else in the world has put on the fucking beating that Sean O'Malley gave Chino Vera. No one's gave Marlon that type of beating. Song Yadong couldn't do it. Marlon Vera arguably beat Song Yadong. Song Yadong's got insane power in his hands and probably better grappling defense than Sean. So, yeah, it's crazy, the MMA community, how quickly when you lose, their opinion of you falls to the toilet. I am not that way. I'm a believer in the Sugar Show. I think we're going to see a reboot. Oh, and we might get a trilogy, which would suck. A trilogy would be tough, because then it's like, oh, man, what is Merab going to change going to a trilogy? Can he change really anything going into a trilogy? I don't know. But I think Sean's going to get it. That's my video. Tell me what you think I got right. Tell me what you think I got wrong. Let's go for the parlay, shall we? We're going to put Kayla Harris into that parlay. We're going to put, just so we can get some oh my God, why is Joshua? I wouldn't put Joshua in it. Don't put him in it. Azamat Murzakanov, put him in there. I want to put one of the underdogs in, but I don't know if Mario Bautista or Waldo Cortes-Acosta should go in there. I feel like because it's so risky because it's a Bellator guy coming in, I wouldn't do Mario Bautista. I'd put Waldo Cortes-Acosta in there as like your underdog in that parlay. Might as well. And then I would do Markel Mederos. Okay, so I'd go Markel Mederos. Good minus 245. Give you some better value. Got your plus 120 here, who I think is going to cash. All right, you got Azamat Murzakanov, who's going to help anchor. And also Kayla Harrison, who is also going to help anchor. I think that will be your good little 4-leg parlay you can scoop up there. So tell me what you guys think I got right. Tell me guys what you think I got wrong. Don't forget to leave a like. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I stream regional MMA fight companions. I stream little gaming streams where I do AMAs for combat sports. That's going to be a new bit of content that's already started. And we're going to try to start up the prospect showcase again. We're going to try to start that back up. A little tough because my boy Joshua Van, I don't call him a prospect anymore. He's all grown up now. Little 23-year-old Joshua Van, all grown up. But that's the video, guys. Catch you for UFC 316. Peace.